You already know, Aswand Cruickshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, checking in for a daily Move Swiftly thought, giving you a perspective on teamwork that you will not get anywhere else. Just yesterday, I I watched all 4 episodes of Coach Prime on Amazon Prime, and let me tell you, I almost wanted to go back and enroll in an HBCU and go and walk on and play all over again. I mean, he had everything that was said, so many gems. It brought that spirit, man. It brought that spirit back to life, and that's what it's all about, all right? So, let me tell you, the one thing that stuck out, there was a ton of gems, and if you have not watched it yet, I highly recommend you take the time and watch all 4 episodes. And he gets into a whole lot, explains a whole lot, especially, when it comes to the criticism of him taking the job at Colorado and all that kind of stuff, right? So the one thing that really stuck out in my mind was when there was I want to say it was a 3rd episode in which he was yelling at his player. He was getting into his guys. It was a team meeting, and he said, hey, listen, they were obviously dominating. They're dominating the season. They went undefeated. They went undefeated all the way until the Celebration Bowl, until they lost to North Carolina Central. And it was during the season, he goes, look, there's a spirit. He was talking to his guys. He was addressing his guys. Let me set the scene for you guys, all right? Coach Prime is addressing all hundreds of his players. And I believe it was like a hotel or a meeting room, it was at a hotel. It was at a hotel, right? And he's addressing the team. And he goes, look, there's a spirit of complacency. There's a spirit of complacency that I don't like, that you need to get rid of. We got to get rid of this spirit of complacency. And listen, that was the first time I've ever even heard that term, spirit of complacency. And so many things come to mind. So many thoughts come to mind. So many actual problems come to mind. That spirit of complacency that he's talking about, some of you right now are living, are projecting and creating that spirit of complacency right now as you're listening to me. You got to get rid of it if you want to grow. You can't keep it around you. In fact, let me tell you a story. In fact, just as he said that, I thought about my ex-girlfriend, right? My ex-girlfriend, we were together for 4 going on close to 5 years, all throughout high school. We were together all through high school. Let me tell you when I realized I needed to get rid of this girl. I realized at this point, when I felt that spirit of complacency, like I said, this thing translates into every aspect of life. All right, I'll never forget this. Because it was a ride. I was driving home from Tennessee. I was driving from Tennessee to Maryland, and I remember the conversation. I'll never forget this conversation because just what she said, based on what she said, it still fucks with me to this day. All right, it still fucks with me to this day because I see, I feel, and I hear that, smell that spirit on so many other women as I've gone out and I've grown up. I'm 34 now, and there's women in their fucking 60s that still have this spirit of complacency, right? So I'm on the phone with her, and I was talking to her about one of my teammates and how he was, he was a true form player. I mean, he had an actual main girlfriend, but then he was talking about some of the hoes that he had on backup when he came back to Maryland. He talked about some of the hoes that he was fucking in Tennessee. He had a whole lineup, a whole starting 5 lineup, and I was talking to her about how he's kind of organizes, or just making conversation, conversations that you have with your significant other and shit like that, right? So when I told her this story, this is what she responded with. She goes, oh man, thank God I didn't end up with somebody like that, right? Now that may not seem like a big deal, but the minute we got off the phone, and when you rest your head on your pillow and you think about what was said, and in my mind I'm like, what the fuck does she mean by end up with somebody like that? End up. Now, again, this was months before we actually broke up, but mentally, in my own mind, that was when I said, okay, I got to get rid of this. If I'm really trying to grow, if I'm really trying to be something up, if I'm really trying to get to the places where I'm trying to get to in life, I can't have that spirit of complacency around me, man. I can't. Those kinds of people are like anchors, and there's some of you listening to me right now, who are waking up next to that person who has become like an anchor. They become like an anchor. They become like shackles on your feet. You can't grow because you went into the relationship with the mindset of you're going to end up with someone, as opposed to saying, I'm going to grow with someone, and now you're trying to figure out ways to get rid of it. Listen, I've seen it play out in real life. I've seen women go from happily married to miserably divorced to having to now figure out how the fuck I'm gonna raise kids on my own. Men too. I've seen it. Again, I'm in fitness, I'm in football, I'm in athletics, I'm in education. Fitness, football, athletics, and education. Those are the spaces in which I work, and I see it every single day. All right, in fact, I'll close you out with this. Just think about this, and we'll bring it current, all right? This past Monday, when Georgia blasted TCU, they blasted TCU 65-7. What was the conversation the next morning? The conversation the next morning was, okay, well, what if Alabama was in there? Would they have done that against Alabama? Right? They didn't give them no time to celebrate their victory. It was all about, okay, well, what if Alabama's going to be there? What's going to happen when they play Alabama, the big dogs, when they get some real competition? That's what I mean, and I love that. I love that mentality. It's all about fighting complacency, guys. Please, do yourself a favor. Do this world a favor. Do everyone around you a favor. Do all the youngins a favor. Do the fucking society a favor and fight that spirit of complacency today. Go out, do something, make a decision that you don't know how it's going, you don't know where it's going to end, but you just know you got to get rid of that complacency feeling. You know you got to get rid of it because it's not helping you. It's not helping you grow. You're not actually moving forward. Fight complacency. Thank you, Coach Prime, for giving me that juice today, baby. Ah! All right, if you want to dive deeper into my world, though, it's makeyourmove.com. That's makeyourmove.com. That's where you could listen to my podcast. That's where you can buy all the Plus LY bundles. That's where you can hit the Plus LY merch. All of that stuff is there on one-stop shop, makeyourmove.com. That's makeyourmove.com. Aswand Cruickshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, checking out. You guys, see, I'm almost ready to go again, but I'm pumped. I'm ready. All right, let me do that again because I'm getting too hyped now. All right, bring it back. I'm going to bring it back. Aswand Cruickshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, checking out for a daily move. Checking out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.